Some babies, they just go to sleep and never wake up.
It's literally just this mysterious ending of a life.
I didn't hear about it. I didn't know what it was.
I could just see his legs hanging out, and I knew.
You see your baby's laying there purple and, you know, got blood coming out of her nose.
I just wanted her back.
The cause of death was SIDS.
Okay, what is SIDS? What caused this?
We have 5 kindergarten classes worth of children dying every year in the state of Tennessee.
They have changes in their cell architecture that's only been described in epilepsy.
We see you and you're heard and your child's not forgotten.
Hopefully we can save a life.
Good evening, I'm Amanda Hara. Thanks for joining us for this special program on WVLT, Wake Up, Babies at Risk. Whether you're a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a caregiver, or a new mother, new information is flying at you all the time. As a new mother myself, my level of fear and anxiety keeps rising as I learn more about a mysterious silent killer. Even though it's the leading cause of death for babies under 1, it is not the lead in many conversations. And what's most alarming, the things you do every day, things you believe to be safe, could actually be deadly for your baby. We're talking about SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome, and we're going to talk about it in a way you've probably never heard. We're taking you inside Harvard laboratories as researchers make massive discoveries about what causes SIDS. And we're asking important questions. Do wearable monitors have the power to protect children? Then we're going to take a tour of East Tennessee's grassroots efforts to keep babies safe. It's all part of tonight's special program, Wake Up, Babies at Risk. In the last few months, I've interviewed a handful of East Tennessee families who have lost children to SIDS. All of them say they never thought it would happen to them. All of them say it could happen to you.
Look here. Are you going to smile?
Nothing in this world
Oh, kisses. Thank you.
will fill your heart like the love of a child.
Can you smile?
This is Maverick. But before Maverick was even born, baby Knox arrived.
He was my 3rd baby. He was just happy, healthy.
And that's when ELISHA Palmer learned nothing in this world will break your heart like the pain of losing a child.
December 20th, it was just a normal day. I mean, we got up, he was happy. Several hours later, I get the call, there's an emergency. And I actually met the MT workers. We pulled in at the same time, and they were carrying him out. He was wrapped in a blanket. I could just see his legs hanging out, and I knew it was really, really bad at that point.
Her baby Knox, just 3 months old, died a mysterious and unexpected death while at daycare. The diagnosis was SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome.
Every day I sit here and I think, there's gonna be a mom and a dad. They're gonna put their baby down for a nap, or they're gonna put their baby to sleep tonight, and that baby is not going to wake up. That happens every single day.
It did happen again to Courtney and Anthony Singh.
All right, let's go this way, boys. She was pretty much a perfect baby
When their daughter Cassie
until the night that she passed away.
was just 2 months old.
Something like woke me up at about 2 o'clock and said, you need to check on her.
He said she's not breathing.
Courtney called 911.
She walked me through doing CPR. So,
EMTs rushed Cassie to the hospital.
And the doctor come in and he just told us that, you know, she didn't make it.
we had plenty of people with us, but at that moment, I just wanted her back. I didn't care, who was there.
SIDS took another life, left another family confused. So what is SIDS? Well, that's mostly a mystery. But we do know a baby is most at risk for sudden infant death syndrome during the first 4 months of life. That's why consistently practicing safe sleep is so important. The American Academy of Pediatrics says that babies should sleep alone in their own crib and on their back, on top of a fitted sheet in a completely empty crib. There should be nothing in the crib with your baby. No blankets, no pillows, no bumpers, and no toys. But still, that may not be enough. For all that we don't know about SIDS, we do know this. It is likely the very moment that a disease we have not identified yet turns deadly. So what's a mother to do?
Hi, this is ELISHA with KNOX Blocks. How can I help you?
ELISHA Palmer started KNOX Blocks, named after her son Knox, aimed at helping families avoid heartbreak. KNOX Blocks donates wearable monitors that track a baby's heart rate and oxygen level, then send alerts to parents when something seems wrong. ELISHA says the device could have saved her baby Knox.
There's a lot of physicians that we've talked to where they truly feel like, yeah, they could have. Just a minute starting CPR could have made the world of a difference.
Even though some experts say there is not a single reported case of a wearable monitor saving a baby from SIDS, but ELISHA says there's comfort in knowing when something goes wrong. Comfort that Courtney and Anthony Singh have new reason to want.
I would really love to have an Owlet monitor. Here is a little brief story of why.
September 2013, we finally had a daughter.
She was more beautiful than we could have ever expected.
We took Cassie to church for the first time on November 24th.
We had no idea that would be the last time that we would spend with her while she was alive.
At 2 a.m., he woke up to check on her and she was gone.
That was and will always be
the worst day of my life. We would feel so much better if we could have an Owlet monitor. When I read her story, it was our story. I mean, it was just, I knew the pain that she lived through.
This is the reason that Courtney and Anthony
You see where she go?
asked KNOX Blocks for a smart sock.
Yeah, this is our miracle.
And this is why KNOX Blocks said yes.
There we go. Oh, that's a birdie.
She has helped heal my heart.
Is that Beauty and the Beast?
A new life both mom and dad are desperate to protect from SIDS. Her name is Annabeth Joy. When she's sleeping, she's wearing that monitor, and her parents say they're at peace. And when she's awake,
Yeah, you got everybody now. She is the princess of the house.
the whole family
Look at Bubby.
finds its joy.
Yeah. You get your other Bubby? The joy has returned to all of us.
1, 2, 3. I'm gonna get you.
Maverick brings that same joy to ELISHA. And so does her work with KNOX Blocks. In less than a year, it's gifted more than 1,400 wearable monitors to parents across the country.
We truly believe that Knox had a purpose, that he still does have a purpose. And we believe that this is it, you know. We lost him at 3.5 months. And he has accomplished more than most people do their whole life, truly.
And while nothing will break your heart like the loss of a child, ELISHA says there's something about trying to save other children.
What is he doing?
That can heal it.
With every outlet that we give parents a little peace of mind and a little piece of Knox.
Hard stories to hear, but there is hope. Up next, we're headed to Harvard University, where researchers are working to unravel the mystery of SIDS. And could a device designed at University of Tennessee silence the silent killer?
It could, one, stimulate that baby long before a parent could respond.
Plus, what you may be doing right now that's putting your child in danger. What you don't know about SIDS when Wake Up, Babies at Risk continues. Defining SIDS isn't easy, not for us, not for doctors, and not for researchers. But in the simplest of terms, SIDS is the moment when a baby dies silently, suddenly, and without explanation. A baby is most at risk for SIDS in the first 6 months of life. And this is interesting. Look at how the triple risk model works. It hypothesizes that 3 things have to happen at the very same time for SIDS to occur. First, a baby is in that critical development period, under 1 year old. Second, a baby is exposed to outside stressors like secondhand smoke, unsafe sleep positions, overheating. And third, a baby is vulnerable in some way. It's already sick, it was premature, or its serotonin levels are off. Dr. Rick Goldstein is a leading SIDS researcher at Boston Children's Hospital and Harvard University. He says although a child who dies from SIDS acts healthy, they are far from it. There's likely something happening in the brain or on a genetic level that makes a SIDS baby vulnerable to situations other babies would be able to survive.
If a child suffocates in a crib from a blanket, they've died of suffocation. But what I am saying is that if a child has a blanket that's near them and they're rebreathing, and 99% of the time a child would not have difficulty with it, but that child ends up dying, then that's more like what we think is going on with SIDS.
Dr. Rick Goldstein is leading that team of researchers from Harvard University and Boston Children's Hospital. He says about 40% of babies who die from SIDS don't have enough of the chemical serotonin in the part of their brain that controls breathing and heart rate.
We take mice and we set them up in chambers and we reduce the amount of oxygen and increase the amount of carbon dioxide in the chamber. And the normal mouse has a very stereotypic set of responses that are the autoresuscitation. Their heart rate goes up, they breathe faster, they arch, they yawn. They do a lot of things that babies would also do in that sort of a situation. But then you take that same mouse and you turn down the serotonin in the brainstem, and they just lay there and die. That's the difference in an otherwise survivable situation between the child who does die, we think, and the child who survives from those threats.
So something about the serotonin is enabling the healthy baby to react appropriately and recover.
Correct. Absolutely.
That's research that Dr. Goldstein and his team are building on. In fact, in the last 5 years, they've made a startling discovery. Some of the babies who die of SIDS, their brains look alarmingly similar to the brains of people with epilepsy.
40% of infants who die from SIDS, that in that region of the brain, they have changes in their cell architecture that's only been described in epilepsy. It raises questions about whether this is a first-time seizure that's not survivable, that somehow is related to it. We know that when parts of the brain are having a lot of seizures, that there's a local effect on serotonin, and the serotonin levels go down.
Researchers are still looking for all the answers, but the unknown is unsettling. Many parents are now buying products that promise to rouse a baby or sound the alarm when vital signs seem concerning. There are several wearable monitors on the market now. We've heard a little bit about the Owlet. It's a smart sock that tracks heart rate and oxygen levels. When something seems wrong, it sends an alert to your phone. The Snooze a Hero clips onto the diaper and promises to rouse a baby if no abdominal movement is detected for 15 seconds. After 5 more seconds without motion, a loud alarm will sound. Nebo is another option. It looks like a watch for a baby and connects to your phone. It's advertised to track heart rate and oxygen levels and notify parents if a baby is in distress or experiencing breathing problems. Doctors at the University of Tennessee are working with the bioengineering department on a device they say detects problems much faster than these other products. Dr. Mark Gaylord says that a small monitor fits into the nose and picks up changes in breathing, which he says come much earlier than other signs of trouble like changes in heart rate or oxygen levels. His device is wireless and would do two things at once: vibrate to rouse the baby and alert mom and dad.
It could, one, stimulate that baby long before a parent could respond. If you could have this wireless that it stimulates the baby at the same time sending an alarm to the parent's cell phone, then it could might cause a big change.
Dr. Gaylord says the device could help babies in the NICU and at home, and adult apnea patients at home too. Clinical trials should start in the next year. Those are just a few of the options out there. The ones that are on the market now range in price anywhere from $90 all the way to several $100s. But do they actually work?
There is no evidence of a life saved because someone intervened and the alarms went off sooner.
He says it is possible for one of these monitors to save a child from something other than SIDS. That's why KNOX Blocks gifts the Owlet monitor to at-risk babies, babies born prematurely or with heart conditions. In fact, founder ELISHA Palmer says one of those gifts alerted a mother to a heart condition she didn't know about.
It's showing that her infant's heart rate was 280 beats per minute. And as a nurse, she's like, that's not possible. So she goes and she gets her stethoscope and she puts it up to his chest, and she said it just sounded like there was a hummingbird. So they actually had to reset his heart rate. It worked.
Well, some parents say that these monitors provide a peace of mind. At least I knew when the trouble started. At least I had a chance to try.
I always tell people it's not going to prevent, it's not going to save your baby. It does not replace safe sleep practices. All this does is just a mechanism to say my baby's in trouble, and you know I can do something or try to do something about it.
At the end of the day, it's up to you and your pediatrician to decide what's best when it comes to a monitor. If you really want to reduce your risk of SIDS, experts largely agree that safe sleep is your best bet. The Safe Sleep campaign started in the 90s and cut the number of SIDS deaths by 50%. Here are the rules, or the ABCs, of safe sleep. Your baby should sleep alone, on its back, and in a crib. Experts say your baby can share your room, but not your bed. Once they're old enough to roll over, it's okay if they change position during the night. Your baby's crib should be bare. No blankets, no pillows, no bumpers, and no toys.
So it's ABC. Alone, on their back, in a crib. They are alone for every sleep, they're on their back for every sleep, and they are in a crib for every sleep. If a baby can roll from front to back and back to front, then they can assume their position of comfort. Babies do sleep better on their bellies, it's well understood, but it's a deeper sleep, so again, we don't know why children that sleep deep are more prone to die, but they are.
A lot of grandparents, even parents of older children, probably thinking, hey, wait a second, these rules, totally different from my day.
We were taught, sleep on their bellies, and, we had the soft bumpers that went around the crib.
We were not sleeping on our backs. We were sleeping on stomachs with stuffed animals, all in our cribs as we were children.
Everything had flipped. Literally, the baby was to be on its back, and don't put a blanket in there, don't put bumpers around, and those are all choking hazards.
Oh yes, they have changed. Oftentimes this can cause conflict between grandparents and parents, or older caregivers and parents. Never assume that your caregiver knows the newest rules, and know that they keep changing for a reason.
We have 5 kindergarten classes worth of children dying every year in the state of Tennessee. Then there's got to be more to know. So I would hope that the recommendations are going to change and improve with time.
You're probably wondering, no blankets. How am I going to keep my baby warm at night? I know I certainly did. Well, there's an East Tennessee family that has a fix, and they're making deliveries to the maternity ward. It's the middle of the work week during office hours, but Brittany Weaver's day job is taking a back seat as she steers her car towards a delivery that could mean life or death.
The thought is, hopefully we can save a life.
Each box contains sleep sacks, wearable blankets for newborns.
Our first delivery was about 400 sleep sacks. It promotes safe sleep. It's taking the blankets out of the cribs, and that's at least one step to reduce the risk.
Tennova Hospital delivers the donations to new mothers. Just the type of person that Brittany and her husband Ben are hoping to reach.
Where do I want to reach them? I want to reach them at the hospital before they take the baby home.
Hey! This, though, is far from a random act of kindness. It's a purposeful gesture born from personal pain.
This is the day he was born.
First moment that we laid eyes on him, he was perfect.
Mason Archer Weaver was born on January 6th. 4 months later,
I was in a hurry and actually left and then thought I didn't give him a kiss. And so I came back and I gave him a kiss and sorry.
That was the day Mason passed away.
We believe that the cause of death was SIDS from what we know.
In the months that followed, Brittany turned her pain into prevention.
It was extremely therapeutic for her.
Using Mason's initials, she created MAW'S, raised a lot of money.
A $10 donation would go toward a sleep sack for a child.
Then bought and donated hundreds of sleep sacks.
For me, the foundation was a lot about extending his legacy. You think as a father, you have a son, your legacy is going to live on through him. Well, now the roles got switched, and it was my job to make sure that the legacy of my son lived on. And so this foundation does exactly that.
Mason has helped hundreds of East Tennessee families and thousands of others who've heard his story. And that's what's driving Ben and Brittany Weaver.
He was here and he mattered, and this foundation really brings that to life.
Just because you know the rules on safe sleep doesn't mean that your caregiver does. These papers are actually the violation history for every licensed daycare in Knox County. And if you read through these papers, you'll find alarming details of babies being put at risk. Experts say it is so important to do your research before choosing a daycare provider. You can actually get all this information online. We have a link on our website, WVLT.tv. We have an opportunity today to save the babies of tomorrow. And it's as easy as your daily workout or regular family night out. We're showing you all the ways East Tennesseans are fighting back. We're learning how important it is for babies to have safe sleep environments. The problem is, not all parents can afford one. That's why Children's Hospital stockpiles pack-and-plays for people who need them. It's just one of a handful of places participating in the Cribs for Kids program. If you need one, call the Knox County Health Department, your doctor, or Children's Hospital. We've covered a lot. There are new rules when it comes to safe sleep. There's groundbreaking research that is unraveling what causes SIDS. And there are doctors right here in East Tennessee developing new ways to prevent more deaths. We know it's a lot to take in and that you probably have questions. We have experts standing by right now. Join us on the WVLT Facebook page to ask your questions and get your answers.
How close do you think we are to cracking this mystery?
I think it'll take 10, 15 years for us to really understand, but I think we're on the threshold of a whole new era in terms of this.
It's therapeutic for me to talk about my son.
He was here and he mattered.
We can't love her up close, but we can still love her.
He still does have a purpose, and we believe that this is it.
Hopefully we can save a life.